What is going on, everybody? Welcome to our Sunday Night Live. We're super pumped to be hanging out with you guys tonight. Drop a comment real fast. If you're here, just let me know that you can see me. Let me know that you can hear me. Let me know where you're from as well, what state or country you are hailing from. I want to make sure my mic is actually turned on. But yeah, let me know what's going on. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Sunday Night Lives, basically I'll come on and I'll talk about a couple things that I'm finding pertinent to the Amazon world over the past week or two. And then I just open it up to questions for you guys. So if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section of whatever group or channel or wherever you're watching this from. We're streaming this all over the place. But drop a comment below, and I will hopefully have enough time to get to all of the questions tonight. I only have about 30 to 45 minutes tonight as opposed to normal where I can just go on and on and on. But yeah, so let me know where you guys are from and drop some questions below for me. All right, so the big things this week. Really the biggest thing that we've seen on the horizon that you all should be aware of is Halloween is right around the corner. Now, there are some interesting nuances with Halloween that we want to sort of briefly talk about here. Hey, what's up, guys? Dark Angel over on YouTube. Man, when I was a kid, I watched that show. I was a sucker for Dark Angel. All right, so yeah, Halloween is coming up. Now, Halloween, there's a lot of different parts to Halloween and a lot of different things that you can sell. Halloween is actually one of the most profitable holidays. So obviously, like, you've got Christmas, Black Fridays. It's not really a holiday, but it's super profitable. Thanksgiving, Easter, Valentine's, and Halloween. Those are really like the big ones. If you're going to mark any holidays down on your calendar, those are the ones where we usually find we get the most sales. So it's definitely one that you want to prepare for. Now, what kinds of things sell during Halloween? Well, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of grocery items. Yes, obviously candy sells really well. So if you can get candy, and I'll briefly talk about some meltable things, but food in general starts selling really well around Halloween. So you can think like any of the fall flavors go like crazy. So this is the time, if you can start finding like pumpkin spice stuff in your Walmarts or in your Big Lots or wherever else you're finding pumpkin spice things or those fall flavors, now is the time to really start diving into that and stocking up. So yeah, food is great. Things like pumpkin is great. Things that you would make for groups of people coming over for your Halloween party, because you don't just eat candy if you have people over for a Halloween party. So start thinking through what all people would get during Halloween and start checking those areas. Now, again, I want to reiterate, for the millionth time, scan everything. Don't just go to Walmart and scan the pumpkin and then pass everything else in that aisle. Scan everything. That just gives you a starting point so that you're not just throwing darts in the dark. Here's the dartboard. Look for pumpkin spice and then look for everything else on that same dartboard. All right? So that's the first big thing. The next big thing is candy. Now, I'm going to do something a little different in this Sunday Night Live. I'm going to give you guys some homework, okay? Your homework right now, like not later on, but right now, it's not even homework. It's like during class work, is to find the meltable section of Amazon. Find what Amazon says about meltables and tell me in the chat what date we are allowed to send in meltable items for FBA. Okay? So find that, drop that in the comment section. I'll give you a virtual high five if you can do that and be the first person to drop it there. But yeah, so you guys should check that out. Now, FBM, meltable stuff and candy stuff, there aren't the same limitations. Officially, you're allowed to FBM anything you want, any time of the year that you want. You do have to be smart about it. So like here in Florida, it's been 100 degrees. So I'm not sending in like a bunch of meltable chocolate things. All right. That's funny. So we have 3 different answers in the chat section. I see October 14th, October 15th, and October 16th. All right, so double check those rules, guys, and make sure that you have the right date. Because 2 of those are wrong, 1 of those is right. So yeah, go and double check those rules for yourself. I don't want to give you the answer here, but check those rules. and October 1st. So again, double check those rules and make sure you know when you're allowed to send those in for FBA. But again, FBM, you're allowed to do it year round. So maybe you're up in New York or something, and I've heard it's starting to get a little bit chilly up there. You're fine to send in chocolate FBM. I wouldn't be too stressed about that personally. Here in Florida, super hot. If you are sending stuff in from Florida, maybe you can put it in like some sort of insulated box or insulated bag, or put it with an ice pack, something like that to keep it nice and fresh. But yeah, and honestly, sometimes that's not even that cost prohibitive, because you can sometimes find ice packs for like $1 or $2. And if your margins are good enough where you can throw in one of those like disposable ice packs that you can get from the Dollar Tree, then you're still making plenty of money, and it's not even that difficult. So yeah, interesting. I'm still reading multiple answers. So again, guys, look at the rules. I don't want people to just listen to me or listen to a YouTube or ask the group, hey, what's the rules about this? Because they're right in Amazon. If you go to Amazon and you search the keyword meltable, I would guess that should get you to the right place. Yeah, so Susan Campbell, thank you. All right, here we go. We'll all cheat off of Susan Campbell over here. So she quoted Amazon, multiple items arriving between May 1st and October 15th will be disposed of. So if you send something in October 14th, or if you send something in October 15th and it gets to Amazon, they're going to throw it in the garbage. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Susan. We appreciate that. All right. So that's the first big thing is Halloween. And so obviously food and candy do really well, but then start thinking of like decorations, costumes. Now, I want you guys to be very aware of something. Costumes will look very lucrative. And costumes can be very lucrative, but there's things that you need to be aware of. So obviously, if you guys have sold clothing, you'll probably see like a decently high return rate. You'll probably get like 10 to 15% return rate on things like bras and pants and shoes and all that stuff. Costumes, you will probably see about a 50% return rate, okay? And that's basically the people of America are jerks. They get the costume and they know that Amazon is totally okay with them returning it, and they will return it. And 50% of the population does that. It's not like a couple bad apples. It's like, no, this is most of the people, or I guess precisely half of the people, but I would still call that most when it's like that. So yeah, most of the people are returning those costumes. So if you're getting a costume and it shows that you have 100% ROI, and you get two of them, you get two costumes with 100% ROI, one of those is going to be returned. So you better hope that the one that doesn't get returned has enough profit to cover both. Now, I know there have been some people in the group who have found places, like they found stores that are shutting down where they've gotten costumes for like 10 cents a piece or 50 cents a piece, and they can sell them for like 20, 30 bucks. If you're doing that, awesome. The returns don't really matter at that point because you're at like 5,000% ROI, and it's totally fine if 50% get returned because you're just going to throw them away and you're still making plenty of profit. But if you're trying to get stuff like full price, or you're trying to think like, oh, I found this replen that's really good, it's a costume, just be aware, 50% return rate. So then the other big thing, how do I unmark that? The other big thing is like decorations. So like stuff that goes in your yard, stuff that goes, oh, we've got a Hawaii person. Stuff that goes in your yard, stuff that goes around your house. Like the lights that you can shoot up in front of your house, those get really, really popular. The like scary ghouls and I don't know, whatever, orbs and balls and bats and cobwebs and all that stuff that you would use for decoration. We don't see as high of a return rate on that stuff as opposed to costumes. I mean, it's not like negligible. There are definitely still returns, but comparing it to costumes are just atrocious. Most longtime sellers that I know stay away from them unless you have ridiculous margins on it. But decorations can be good. Blow up stuff can be good. All of those types of things for Halloween can be great. All right. So that is Halloween. If you're just joining us, by the way, this is Sunday Night Live. I'm going through a couple things that I think are important for you guys to be aware of. And then I'll do questions at the end. So if you have questions, drop them down below. All right. The next thing on my very official Post-it notes after Halloween is our 100K club. So we launched a Hustle Buddies 100K club about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago or so. And we just reached out because Hustle Buddies at this point, we've been around for almost a year. We started Hustle Buddies like 11 months ago, 10 months ago, give or take. And we wanted to know, like, okay, we've been doing this for a while. We've taught a lot of people, whether that's like through coaching, whether they've taken classes, whether it's just the free content from our Facebook group and our YouTube channel. We want to know what, like, who has learned stuff from us, who has really seen, oh, look at that, there we go. Who has seen like a huge growth in their business because of like the tips and the advice and the content that we've been putting out. So we started this 100K club and I think we hit 80 members. So like for me and Alicia, that was so humbling. And I even I called my mom even, cause like, oh my gosh, we have helped other people generate 8 million. And this is like minimum. So you have to show me a screenshot to get into the 100K club. I don't just let people in. We've had a lot of people who've asked and then I check my messages and there's no message from them. I will deny you every time because I don't have time to like hunt you down. You have to shoot me a message and you have to include your screenshot. But we've got like 80 people in there now. And that means at a bare minimum, we've helped people generate $8 million of like life-changing revenue, which is insane. Like, so we've always, obviously, we were teachers in our past life and we always had that teacher bug. Like we want to help people have those light bulb moments, those aha moments. And that for us was so validating, like when we had so many members. So that's something for you guys. If you're not a part of that and you've hit 100K and you attribute a decent portion of that to Hustle Buddies. I know there's plenty of people in the group that are way over 100K, but they're just like random people off the street. They don't get anything from us. That's not really specifically who we're looking for. We're looking for Hustle Buddies, people who are part of the Hustle Buddies community and sort of embody that that idea of let's raise each other up, let's push each other forward, let's be positive, let's be uplifting, all of that stuff. All of the things that Hustle Buddies are about, we want to carry that through to this 100K club. We're not just bringing in random big sellers off the street. So yeah, definitely check that out. If you hit 100K, you can look up the Hustle Buddies 100K club. We've got like some links in our regular group. If you just type in 100K, you should be able to find it that way. But yeah, make sure you shoot me a screenshot with your sales. Okay. And then lastly, on my very official Post-it note is Q4. So we're basically in Q4 now, guys. This is the beginning of it. Okay. Yes, technically there are dates that are involved with Q4, but because of check-in times, because of the nature of if I send something in now, it's going to take it like 5 weeks to check into Amazon. That means we're in Q4. Okay. So with that said, we do have our Q4 class that is still going on. I'm going to leave the Q4 class available for you guys. I mean, if you've already gotten it, you get lifetime access. But if you have not gotten it, it's only going to be available up until about Black Friday, maybe even a little bit before that, because after that point, you're past it. Okay, you can't play catch up. Once we're past Black Friday, okay, you sort of wave the white flag there for Q4. You're not participating this year. So Q4 this year is going to be ridiculous. I highly recommend participating. And we have a pretty awesome class. I mean, you can just see the people that have already taken it. And actually, if you did already take it and you want to give us like a little talk about it in the group, we'd love that. That's sort of how we grow, is just word of mouth. But so yeah, those are our big things. Let me know what questions you guys have. Oh, and actually going back to that Q4 real fast, I've seen now 2 or 3 comments just this past week of people thinking that this Q4 is going to be slow, or this Q4 is going to be less. People are thinking like, well, a lot of people lost their jobs, and so not as many people are going to have expendable income for Amazon and this, that, and the other. No, no, that's not at all what the data shows us. I understand what you're saying, and I understand a lot of people have been laid off. A lot of people have not been laid off. A lot of people get, so let's use the stimulus check, for example. the day after the stimulus check came to most of America, guess what our sales did on Amazon? Because in general, people are very dumb with their money. For better or for worse, people aren't money intelligent. Society and education has not, it's not taught people how to be good with their money. And so because of that, when they get like a $1,200, $1,600, or $2,000 stimulus check, boom, the first thing they do, they just go and they buy cool things. So that's the first big thing. Second big thing is so many stores are closing down. So like for Black Friday, for example, there's not going to be Black Friday at like Walmart and Target and a lot of these other big stores. But people still want that Black Friday experience. So what's going to happen? They're all going to go online for all these crazy virtual Black Friday sales. Okay. So just giving you just some data. And we talked about this a couple weeks back, but just in Q2, e-commerce and Amazon grew by 40%. So Q2 of 2020 versus Q2 of 2019 was 40% larger. And that's like Q2, that was when we were in the thick of things. That was when everyone was stressed out. Everyone was staying home. Everyone was like hunkered down, bunkered down, not buying things, didn't have money, getting laid off, all of that. And even through the absolute worst of it, e-commerce grew by 40%, or Amazon specifically grew by 40%. And that's in Q2. We're expecting Q4 to be even a larger change than that. So Q4 is going to be nuts. Please don't sit on the sidelines. There's a lot of businesses are going to be completely made during Q4. I mean, I was just looking at the group, like there's people that we see in our group that like, they literally started this a month ago. They're like, yeah, I started this a month ago with a couple hundred. I found this one home run that worked. I got into a couple thousand, and then I found another home run product, and then I did 10,000. Like there's people doing this now. So there's not a good reason to wait. We've never, in the history of Amazon, we've never seen a climate like what we're in right now. So don't sit on the sidelines for Q4. Don't think you need to scale back. Keep sending stuff in. Keep doing FBA. Keep doing FBM if you're not doing FBM. And make a lot of money. And then when you make that money, don't be an idiot and blow it all on Amazon. Save it and do the whole like retire early. We're not in this to just make $1 billion. We're in this to get what money gets us, and that's freedom. That's everyone here. There's no one in the world who just well, maybe there's a couple weirdos, but for the most part, there's no one who just wants money. People want the freedom that money gets. So this is me telling you as a friend, dude, bro, my sister, please don't spend your money on stupid things. Save it, invest in intelligent things, invest in yourself, invest in your business, invest in other investment vehicles, whether that's index funds or real estate, whatever it is, because the end goal is that you have freedom to not have to work. All right. I'll finish. I'll stop preaching for now. Let me start diving in to some of these questions. Let me see if there's any going on here. Let's see. We've got some people from Idaho here, California here, just trying to figure out. Welcome. I can't see your name, but they said they're just trying to figure it out. You are in the right spot. Hustle Buddies, we've got so much stuff. If you're new to the group, go up to the units tab in the group, and we've got it really broken down for you guys. Like start here, do this, then try that, then scan there. It's really broken down for you guys to make starting off pretty easy. Is it real you can buy an Amazon seller account? Sort of. It's sort of real. You can buy a business, and one of that business's assets can be their Amazon account. You cannot just buy an account. You cannot just buy, like, you can't pay me money to get my email and my password login for Amazon. What you can do is you could purchase, I mean, it's not called this, but let's just pretend that my Amazon company is called Hustle Buddies. You could pay me for the Hustle Buddies business. You would get all of the Hustle Buddies content. You would get all of the Hustle Buddies inventory. You'd get all of the Hustle Buddies assets. Part of those assets would be the Hustle Buddies Amazon account, along with all their inventory. So in that sense, it is possible, but you're purchasing the entire business entity, and it has to be like a legitimate business purchase. It's not just like, hey man, I'll pay you for your Amazon account. It's not like that at all. Let's see. What do you do when your Amazon is just not getting traffic? Well, it's not my Amazon, it's Amazon as a whole. If my items aren't getting traffic, then it means I bought bad items. It means I wasn't looking at the data correctly. It means I wasn't looking at my Keep It chart. I wasn't seeing like the sales rank and the reviews and the velocity and all of that stuff. So if you're a month in and you're not really selling anything, it's probably because the stuff that you purchased either was super, super saturated and you weren't aware of it, or it just wasn't selling all that fast. You can like try to run like deals on it. You can do little coupons. You can do PPC ads for your stuff. All those ways help. But the number one way is just make sure that what you're buying is really good stuff. I love it. They are listening and they're polybagging while they are listening. Yeah, that's great. I love putting stuff on in the background while I'm polybagging. I don't know about you guys, but that's so like cathartic for me to just sit there and like peel stickers and put stuff in poly bags. I might have like a podcast or a show in the background, but man, I could seriously do that for hours. I don't, because it's usually because it's not really time or money effective for me. But man, it's super relaxing when I can do like one thing over and over and over. I'm that kind of weirdo. All right, this person, when can you send in chocolate? So refer back to the beginning. That was a little bit of homework that we've answered. Let's see. Awesome. Yeah, lots of people answering the homework. I'm looking for some more questions. Yeah, a few of your friends had horrible amounts of returns. Yeah, so you have to account for that. I'm assuming you're talking about Halloween stuff. Halloween costumes are 50% return rate. Okay, it's pretty nuts. Whoops, my camera timed out. Turn this back on. There we go. Let's see. Okay, this person says, I am holding back on doing most FBM, but my Amazon contact is going to do FBA. SQ4 is here. But we're about the fee, so I think I will do most FBM. Yeah, you don't have to pick and choose. That's the great thing about this. Let's say that you're selling sticky notes. Okay, you've got 2 stacks of sticky notes. You can send one FBA and you can list one FBM, and that's totally fine. I don't think anyone should only be doing one or the other. This year specifically. Last year I would have said, oh, do everything FBA. This year, you need to be doing FBM and you need to be doing FBA. Definitely be doing both. No, the 100K club is you have a total of 100,000 in sales. So it's not like a crazy massive number that no one can ever hit. It's pretty achievable. There's obviously, if there's 80 people in there already, and we haven't really talked about it or advertised it very much. Yeah, so it's definitely achievable. And it's not like some super mastermind upper level thing. It's just, you won't find people asking how to start their Amazon account in the 100K club, which is sort of what people were looking for. They're looking for a little bit more like upper level questions and conversations, things like that. I got a list issue and they want an invoice. All right, so the answer is you're going to have to send them an invoice. If they want an invoice, that's what you get to send them. It doesn't matter what the price. It could be a $1 product, could be a $10,000 product. You still have to send them an invoice for that. So that's when you're in the group, when you're listening to content, when people say that something is gated or restricted, that is what they're talking about. That is when Amazon is asking you for that invoice. That means that that product is gated. You're either not allowed to sell that, or you have to send in the invoice in order to be allowed to sell it. New sellers, how do you know when it's Q4? It's right now! You know because Nate just told you. Now, there are official dates for when Q4 starts. For the e-commerce realm, the official dates are pretty meaningless. Q4 has started. And you need to be planning for how to make the most of it at this point. So no, a Walmart receipt is not an invoice. A receipt is a business to customer transaction. An invoice is a business to business transaction, and they are very different things. We have a video on our YouTube channel for the difference between an invoice and a receipt. when you can use which one, because there's lots of things that you can use a receipt for, and there's some things that you cannot use a receipt for. Getting ungated is one of those things, really one of the only things that you cannot use a receipt for. The Q4 class that I was mentioning, it's really for everybody. It does assume that you've like shopped and sent in a package. If you haven't done anything yet, we're actually, so I was going to cut this off, but I'll tell you what, Charla. So we'll throw in, I'll make this code work again. So I'll throw in a code that you can get the newbie or beginner kickstart webinar as well as the Q4 class. They're two different classes. So if you get the Q4 class, but you're an absolute beginner, like you don't know how to scan things, you haven't set up an account or you haven't shipped anything in, that's what the beginner kickstart class is for. And I'm going to go ahead and make this code live so that it's free again for you guys. You can use the code newbie freebie if you are getting the Q4 class. So you have to get the Q4 class, go through that purchase, and then go back to the website and get the newbie class and enter in that code in the coupon section. All right. Hopefully that helps, Charla. But yeah, we broke down like the Q4 class. It goes through advanced content and things like that, but we break them down to their simplest forms. So as long as you've like already sent stuff and you have a basic knowledge of like you have an account and all of that stuff, it's going to be good for you. Let's see. Newbie here. I haven't sent any FBA yet, but I've sold 2 items FBM. I don't have a lot of inventory. Should I stick with FBM until my inventory grows? Yeah, that's not a bad idea, especially when you're just working with small amounts. FBA shipping can start costing a lot of money if you're just sending like 1 or 2 products off. So FBM is a great way to sort of build up your inventory if you're starting with a really, really small amount. KJ Halix, watching from Guyton. Awesome. Preparing for Q4. Yeah, definitely check out our Q4 class. It's over on our website, hustlebuddiesofficial.com. If you go up to the top, it's like all classes or all webinars or all courses. I forget the verbiage of it. But we've got a pretty awesome Q4 class that a ton of people have taken. And to date, there has only been one person who asked for a refund for the Q4. And like if the Q4 class sucks for you, I'll give you a refund. I think we've gotten like 500 or 600 people in the class and only one of them asked for a refund. And I looked at that one person. They literally watched 1.5 minutes of the intro video and then 1.5 minutes of like the very last thing in the class. So I don't know what they were expecting or what they wanted, but they got no value from it. They were like, oh, this is terrible. This isn't what I signed up for. But they didn't look at anything inside of it. So I gave them a refund, but yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah, not only for Q4, but this person is a truck driver. Doesn't say your name, but I think I know who you are, man. So yeah, bad weather is going to be rough. Doing more online arbitrage, which that's a big part of our Q4 class, is breaking down some online arbitrage methods and things like that. So yeah, online arbitrage is going to get really big as well. Good question. So is it too late to send in Q4? I'm assuming that's FBM, but autocorrect corrected it. Is it too late for Q4 FBM in toys? It is not too late. You have about 1 month left to sell 25 things FBM and to make sure all of your metrics. So it's not just selling 25 things. You also have to have like your order defect and your late shipping and all of that. All of those things have to be below a certain percentage. So look up those guidelines in Amazon. There's your homework. So we've already done the Meltable homework. Your second bit of homework, if you don't do much FBM, is to look up what Amazon needs from you in order for you to FBM toys during Q4. Now, I want to preface this again, and maybe this will confuse you more. Some people said it was confusing. It works in my brain. I like to think of it as like a Venn diagram. So there is selling toys, and there is FBM. You are allowed to sell toys, and you are allowed to sell FBM. The only thing Amazon is talking about is where those two circles intersect. So it's FBMing toys. That's what the Q4 requirements are for, because they don't want you to like try to FBM some kid's toy and then you don't send it out because you're brand new to FBM and you get it all wrong. That's basically what they're doing here. So excited that you are here. Unfortunately, this doesn't always show us your name. I think you have to like give permission or something to the app, but we're excited that you're here, whoever you are out there. Who's my favorite superhero? Ooh, that's a tough one. I can tell you a couple that are, as a typical millennial, I have a much harder time defining something that I think is really great and a much easier time defining something that I think is terrible. I think Batman is a terrible superhero because he's not a superhero. He's just like a really good ninja kickboxer fighting person who has a freaking ton of money. So Batman, I'm not a huge fan of because he doesn't actually have any superpowers. Yeah, as long as you've got a superpower, I like you. But yeah, he's not a big fan of him. Same with Iron Man. I'm not a big fan of Iron Man because, again, he's just a really rich guy who's really smart. Iron Man and Batman are basically the same person. Yeah. When you are restricted, are you allowed to sell those items FBM? I don't believe so. Yeah, I don't think I've ever even thought to look down there. I'm like 99% sure no, but I don't think I've personally ever even looked at that. Yeah, I'm almost 100% sure that's a no. Let's see. Hello, I had a toy listing taken down because it said it had a laser and kids' toys can't have lasers. It was just plastic and doesn't even use batteries. I closed the listing and appealed. Yeah, that's all you can do. Unfortunately, it's Amazon's playground. They can do what they want, and they get things wrong all the time. So, yep, you closed it and you appealed it. That's as far as you can go. You might have to just move on, unfortunately. Struggling to read the Keep a Chart. Lucky for you, we've done lots of YouTube videos about this. So check out our YouTube channel and look up how to read a Keep a Chart, or go to the group and search how to read a Keep a Chart. And the price that the item sold for, you're only going to get a good guesstimate. You won't get that exactly, but you can sort of try and follow along where the lines are. Can you explain how to do a disposal order? So you go to your inventory, you click on the little checkbox, if you're looking at this mirror. So you're looking at your little checkbox that's over here. You check that. You go up to the actions menu, you click actions. There should be a drop-down menu, and there should say one that says create removal order or create disposal order. You click on that. What if Amazon changes the category of a product, which then changes the ranking? You're going to have to ask more question than that, because that's more of a statement where it has it's currently written. If you have like a very specific question about that, I can help answer. But if Amazon changes the category of product, the ranking can change. Yes. All right, let me drop your questions. I've got about 5-10 more minutes here. This is a good one. So I tend to find a bunch of great one-off items, but really struggle finding a large amount of like one item. I normally leave a store with 5 to 10 items, but I feel like I must be missing something based on the numbers I see other folks posting. Yeah, so it kind of depends on your budget. It kind of depends on what area of a store you're looking in. Depends on your experience. If you're just starting, we tell everyone, go wide, don't go deep if you're just starting, because not only is there more safety in, it's sort of like a same thing with your like investing portfolio. You want to have a diverse portfolio of inventory. So that's the first thing. There's safety and diversity. And secondly, you'll learn 100 different lessons trying to sell 100 different things rather than trying to sell 100 of one thing, because you're only going to learn one lesson that way. Now, once you do start learning some lessons, then you can start buying a little more. So let's say you find, I use this a lot with my coaching students, but let's say you find peanut butter. That's like buy one, get one free. Okay, so that's 50% off. And you see that it's selling pretty well. Okay, well, you could buy one, or you could buy 5 or 6 and do a little test buy and maybe try to FBM them. And then those 5 or 6 might sell that same day. If 5 or 6 sell in one day, you go back to the store and you buy 20, 30, 40, 50 because you just sold 5 in that same day. You don't know how many are going to sell. And assuming that the price stays consistent and it's not like a clearance item where it's going to tank shortly, check that out. I've got people over here asking to be in the 100K club. But yeah, so that's do some test buys. When your test buys check out, then you get more of it. So when you see people, so for example, I'm not going to name his name, but there's someone in the group that we're friends with. He was one of our first students, and he was doing pretty good. And then he started getting more into FBM, and he figured out the trick of like finding a couple home run items and going really deep on them. And so he'll post pictures of him where he's fulfilling like 200 orders a day. And usually, not entirely, but for the most part, it's like 1, 2, maybe 3 different products that he sold 200 times that day. It's not like 200 different products. But he didn't just go to the store and buy 200 of that one thing to start with. He went and he bought 1 or 2 or 3, then 5 or 6 or 7, and then 15 to 20, and then 50, and then 100. And now he's like, okay, I'm just doing road trips and I'm buying all of this item that I can find everywhere. So Jameson is asking about inventory placement. I don't personally like inventory placement. I know some people who use it. I don't think it's completely bad. The problem with what most people are using, so there's, and I don't even remember the second term for it off the top of my head, because again, I don't use either one, but there's inventory placement and there's like preferred placement or something. There's a separate thing. Maybe someone in chat who can think of this word. It's failing me right now, but inventory placement is just all of the same SKU goes to the same warehouse. But the thing is, for the most part, you can manipulate your numbers to do that on your own anyways. And we did a video couple weeks back, maybe a month or so back, with Cody. It's on our YouTube channel of how to make all of one SKU go to one warehouse. And it's just how you manipulate some numbers, either in Inventory Lab or in Seller Central, or a little bit of both. So I don't personally use it. Part of it is, even if everything does go to a few warehouses, it's just going to go out to distribution centers and get carried out anyway. So like your stuff takes longer to sell, and I'm paying them more money. So I don't personally love it, but with that said, I do know plenty of people who do use it. Yeah, if I had to put a number to it, I would say 70% of the large sellers I know don't use it and 30% do. So it's definitely more the majority who do not use inventory placement. If I had to put a number on it, I mean, I don't really have, I haven't done studies on this or anything, but just the feeling that I get from people. Yep. So Lashana, she's been sending invoices to get ungated in grocery and topicals, and they keep saying they can't see it. Yeah. What you're doing is exactly what you'll have to do. Just keep, if there is something wrong, keep fixing it. Take more pictures, take clearer pictures or whatever it is. But we've had items where I've literally sent the exact same invoice 4 times, didn't change anything about it because I knew it was correct. And on the 4th time, they accepted it. So a lot of times it just has to do with the person who's looking at your invoice and your pictures. It's probably someone who they've outsourced overseas, and they have like 3 seconds to give that invoice a thumbs up or a thumbs down just because they have a quota to hit for their working time. And they gave you a thumbs down because they only had 3 seconds to look at it. So just keep sending it, and assuming that you've done everything correctly, it should go through. Yeah, and there's lots of people. Thanks, guys. See, this is why I love Hustle Buddies, why I love the community. So many people are just like, I see like there's like 3 or 4 comments to Lashana's comment, that's freaking awesome, guys. that everyone's so helpful. And that's what, like when we do beginner Wednesdays, I always like make it a point to sort of remind people, like, reach back. And even if you've only been doing this a month or 2 months, there's someone who's only been doing it 0 to 1 month. So even though you're only like one step ahead and you still feel lost, there's still things that you can answer with, or answer about from experience. So yeah, reach back and give back, guys. Jessie from Hawaii. Jessie has been killing it. She was also in our first little batch of like mentee coaching students, and she is just freaking, it's amazing what you've done, Jessie. We are super impressed. Let's see. Do you recommend doing the entire seller university before you source? Sure. It obviously doesn't hurt. Like, it's Amazon's whole thing. I binge watched a ton of stuff before I started going out and actually throwing my money at things, because I didn't want to just buy stuff that didn't work. Like, I wanted to be very sure that I knew as much as I could. Now, with that said, you also need to be careful to not get the analysis paralysis where you're just watching and watching and watching. Like, there have been, again, I'm not going to call them out, but there's people who have been in the group for 10 months who I've seen recently post comments like, I've been here for 10 months and I'm still too scared to start, or I'm still worried that I'll mess something up. Okay, that's way beyond the acceptable point. You just got to jump in at a certain point and be okay making some mistakes. And mistakes are going to happen. Failures are going to happen. It's not possible to run a business and never once fail and never once make a mistake. They're just going to happen. As long as you go in with the mindset of you're not going to give up and that you're always going to try and find a solution for your mistakes, then you'll be golden. All right. And also, so I'm going through just a couple more questions. If you guys don't mind, wherever you're watching this on, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff, just give this little live video a like. It tells all the algorithms that this is useful. And then other people can go back and rewatch this later. Let's see. All right. I'm in my second month and I'm only $5 away from my September goal of $2,000. That is freaking awesome. It's only September 13th. That is super, super cool. That's what we love hearing. Yep, that's why we're doing this. Help people get out of debt, help people retire early. I was trying to think of like, yeah, like why Hustle Buddies? Originally, it was more like I was just tired of seeing all the negativity with business groups, and I wanted like a positive, uplifting space. But the larger it gets, the more I'm like, we're actually like literally changing lives, which is kind of crazy. And that's really what it's all about. Yeah, so that's super cool that you're just about to hit your goal of 2,000. Let's see you hit 4,000 next month. So briefly explain Amazon collecting sales tax for like, I want to say 45 of the states. They do it automatically and you don't have to do anything. So do a Google search for what states does Amazon automatically remit sales tax for. Just Google search that sentence. And there should be a picture. You can even go to like Google Images. There should be a picture that shows you, oh, Amazon is remitting sales tax for this. If you're in one of those states, then you don't have to worry about sales tax. If you're not in one of those states that Amazon is automatically doing it, you'll have to set that up with your state and then set that up with an Amazon. So like Florida is not, so we have to remit sales tax in Florida. But the way it works is you're only charging sales tax to people who live in Florida. It's kind of weird how it works, but it's all set up automatically inside of Amazon if you go to your tax settings. FBM questions. How do you handle returns? Just let people do it. If it's like an expensive thing, then they'll ship it back to me. If it's a cheap thing, like if I sent them a can of pumpkin spice flavoring seasoning stuff, I'll just tell them to keep it and I'll say, here's a refund. keep it. It's on us. So sorry about the experience. Let us know how we can help more. Something like that. If you do that, the $2 that bottle cost me is worth the potential positive review that I will get by giving that person something for free and just going over and above what they expect. If you get ungated in one brand, will that open up the whole category? So you're sort of misunderstanding this. If you get ungated in the category of grocery, then you are ungated in the category of grocery. There are category restrictions and brand restrictions. The brand does not affect the category does not affect the brand. So if you get an invoice, let's say you're trying to sell Pop-Tarts, it's going to be gated for grocery and it's going to be gated for Pop-Tarts. It's gated for both reasons. So if you get an invoice for Pop-Tarts, that Pop-Tarts invoice will be able to be used for grocery, the whole category, and for Pop-Tarts. So you'll be able to sell Pop-Tarts and any other grocery item that's not restricted under another brand restriction. Anything that was just restricted because of grocery will now be unrestricted. But let's say Kellogg's is restricted as a brand, you won't be able to sell Kellogg's because it was restricted for both grocery and Kellogg's. And even though grocery is gone and groceries, you're good to go, you still won't be able to sell Kellogg's because that's a brand gating. I see lots of information for FBA, not too much on FBM. Do you have videos on how to pack FBM? Yes, we have two. They are two of our most popular videos on YouTube. They get like 200 views a day because there really isn't that much information out there about it. Yeah, go to our YouTube and it's like one of our most popular ones, how to ship merchant fulfilled items on Amazon or how to pack FBM items. We've done two different ones. Watch them both. All right, let's see. I'll take maybe two more questions. One more question. We'll see if there's good ones. Yeah, so it's okay to ask for a remeasure, or the keyword there is a QB scan. If you see the fees are astronomical, so oftentimes we'll see this happens on pants. So if any of you guys took our Kohl's class, there's some pants that we talk about, and there's some specific brands to look for at Kohl's. And we've seen this happen a lot with this brand where, let's say the pants are like 32, 36, like men's dress pants, 32, 36. It's going to go into Amazon, has like 32 inches by 36 inches as the dimensions of that product. But that's not at all, you fold it up. So it's like 2 by 5 by 5 or something. It's not 32 by 36. But because it says 32 by 36, the fees are like $30. And so yes, in those circumstances, if you have already sent it in FBA, you ask Amazon for a QB scan. So what you do is you go to seller support, you have your ASIN ready, and it has to be in the warehouse already. They have to have it in order to scan it. And you ask them for a QB scan, CUBI scan. Great question. Dude, David Weller with a big month. 1 month and 1 week just sold 10,000. That is crazy, dude. That's awesome. Congrats. Yeah, you definitely earned that. We'd love the Q4 class. Learned so much from the group. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Awesome. Yep, that's what we're here for. And again, if you guys didn't catch it earlier, we do have a Q4 class that's going to be available for about another 4 or 5 weeks or so. We'll probably take it down just before Black Friday because after that point, it's really too late. But yeah, if you have not taken that yet, definitely check that out. It's over on our website, hustlebuddiesofficial.com. Let's see. And I'll answer this one as the last one. Sent in XYZ product, 2 different listings. One sold out, the other is sitting. Can you request Amazon to move it from one listing to the other? Nope, you cannot. Unfortunately, you have to either just wait for it to sell out, or you have to request it back to yourself, and then you send it back in with the different ASIN. Amazon will not relabel and change the ASIN of an item that is already in the warehouse. Real quick, Q4 is basically the holiday season. It's the 4th quarter of life of business, and it represents like Black Friday through Christmas. It's when sales are crazy. Usually people sell about 50% of their yearly income or their yearly revenue comes between Black Friday and New Year's. That holds true for a lot of business. 50%. So 50% between those dates and 50% the other like 10 months out of the year. All right. So Q4 is pretty nuts. And that's why we have a class about it, about how to maximize your profit. All right. All right. Thanks for stopping by our Sunday Night Live. We will see you next Sunday. Get your questions ready for that. And we'll be posting periodically. If you've got other big questions, we try to do these like weekly posts, so like beginner Mondays. We have some other days that we'll try to post stuff on. So stay tuned for all that. And we will see you out there, guys. Hustle on.